It's time to hear the story, make the connection, learn the lesson, and gain the wisdom. Are you ready? Let's get charged and be changed. The Sister Speak Brother Break Show. Conversations on grace, healing, and deliverance. This is Marcy Bush. Come on, let's journey together. Hello, and thank you for joining us for the Sister Speak Brother Break Show. Today we have a special guest to me. He is someone who I met about 10 months ago, but I am just meeting him face to face today. He's like a brother to me, and I'm glad to finally be able to see him in person. His name is Colby Harris, and Colby is a son, a husband, a father, a brother. He's a motivational speaker, a serial entrepreneur, and to some, he is Cousin Colby. But today we have him here, and we just want to find out about what makes him tick, find out about the things that he's experienced in his life. You know, our tagline is Conversations on Grace, Healing, and Deliverance. And truly, when I think of Colby, I think of the grace that God has on his life. And I think of the healing that God is doing even now. And so, help me welcome Colby. Thanks for being here with us, Colby.
Thanks for having me. So
we're going to jump right in. I want you to tell me what your young life was like.
So I'm the middle of 9 brothers. My mother left me and my brothers when I was about 6. So the thing that I go back to is like all of us being in the house, struggling to eat, don't know where our next meal coming from, scheming, trying to figure out how to get food. My dad, after my mother left, my dad, he worked for the fire department. And right when he would leave the fire department, he would go and work another job. So during that time, it was like we didn't have any supervision. Our older brothers, Andre and Carlton, at the time, they were probably like 13, 14, maybe, right? That's really where my vision go. But 13, 14, they had dropped out of school, mainly middle school. Later on in life, they kind of went back. But yeah, middle school, and they were taking care of kids. Okay. You can just imagine, I don't know, you know, the horrible situations at that time. I didn't know it was horrible. It was just, you know, it was just life for us. Okay. But yeah, that's.
So you already said a mouthful. So let me back it up a little bit. Yeah. So you said you're the middle of 9.
Yeah.
The middle of 9 boys.
Yeah, 9 boys.
Okay. And you said your mother left when you were about 6.
Yeah.
So do you remember what it was like before your mom left? Do you have a grasp on what was going on then?
Somewhat. I know I can remember the fights. I can remember my dad and my mother having fights. Not necessarily knowing what it was about. But I remember those parts. I remember my mother not being there. That was just the main side of what I remember. I don't ever remember her being there where it's like taking me to the park or you know, just doing motherly things. Right. I don't remember any of those if they did exist. Okay. And I don't think any of my brothers that were younger or older remember that either. Okay.
Yeah. Now, and so that was when you were 6. After 6, what can you remember? I know you said, you know, trying to survive, trying to figure it out. And even while you were talking, I was thinking, and I'm like, okay, even if, when I think 9 boys, I think, whoo, it must have been something, because if there was a girl somewhere in there to balance and maybe have like a motherly instinct or a soft hand or something like that. So what in the world was it like for 9 boys? And then you said your dad was working 2 jobs?
Yeah, 2 or 3, because he would work 1 day on, 2 days off. So he was trying to do whatever he could. But it was rough. Like, you know, it wasn't definitely time for like any type of mental care.
Okay.
Or just.
Was there any structure?
Nah, definitely not. And it was, I mean, my brothers, they had dropped out in middle school. So, you know, and you, I mean, think about that. The kids just being home all day. You can imagine what they are going through. My dad, I remember my dad went to jail one time, and we were all still at the house. And you can just imagine, like, so I'm in kindergarten, I think, at this time, and I'm getting called. He's talking to me and all my brothers, and I just remember like the sound. There's this unique sound that you have when you hear someone talking from jail, and but anyway, he like I remember those moments, but it was just rough. It was rough. We probably was the little wrecking crew not to play with, but for the most part, yeah, it was just a rough, tough situation.
Was there anybody reaching out that you can recall?
Yeah.
Any neighbors, family, anything that you can recall?
Yeah, well, I remember we had some nice neighbors. I don't think they lasted. We probably broke the neighbors, but
oh goodness.
The neighbors that we had. This was probably my first memory of just people being nice, right? And that was the first time I was introduced to supper. I didn't know. Before that, I didn't know what supper was. But I remember that they would cook, and they would cook like when it was still light outside. That was a thing, and they would invite us over to eat. And then it grew to us like expecting it, like they needed to give us that because they did, you know. But yeah, that's probably one of the only memories that I have where people were being nice. I remember having conversations with my father about they wanted to put him on the news. Family members wanted to come. I don't remember it, but he was saying family members wanted to come and kind of split us up to help him out and things like that. And he just wasn't with that. He wanted to be around his kids, mainly because his father left.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. And now, with the poverty piece, I know you said you all were trying to survive. Were there things that you all were doing as boys that, because I think from one of our conversations, I may remember something about stealing or going out doing. Yeah,
I mean, we like, and this is no excuse, but what happens, I think, in life when you get to where you're living at your lowest points, like the lack of care, you know, is present. And for us, we were surviving. So yeah, we would steal our meals. We would scheme to figure out how to feed everybody. One thing we did pretty often was we would order food with the little money that we had that we probably stole to get, right? And then get that money, order food, and then call the restaurant and be like, oh, there was a bug in our food, just to get double to feed everybody. But yeah, it's like that was a thing that was normal for us. Just doing my older brothers, they was doing whatever it took to survive. Did that mean robbing or hurting someone? That's what they did.
Okay. Yeah. And when it comes to the abandonment, when your mom left, could you really see a difference? I mean, did you feel her as a missing piece, or did it feel like she was there but missing all along?
I didn't know. To be honest, I didn't know she was missing till I was to second grade. When I made it to like the second grade, The only reason I remember this is because like it was an emotional moment for me. Like being in a house like that with my brothers, like we didn't get the opportunity to share our feelings. Like that wasn't a regular thing for us. We would share our feelings or talk about how we felt about this. And it's like, nah, stop crying. We're gonna be all right. And that was it, right? Just the tough, just rock hard, whatever you could think of, like that's what that was, right? But in second grade, I remember, and this was really maybe just when things started to look like they were going well for us. Okay. But I'm in school, and I think this is the first time I had kind of experienced like the assistant teacher thing. It was new culture then. Main teacher was there, but assistant, she asked me, she was like, "Hey Colby, what's your mother's name?" And I just froze because I didn't know, like, well, it's not that I didn't know her name, I forgot that she existed, and but she wasn't there. And she actually said, what's your mother's name? And I'm like, huh? She's like, your real mother, like what's your real mama's name? And I remember saying her name, and then like just crying afterwards. And she was very remorseful about it. She was just, apologizing. But at that moment, I realized that, oh, you're not here. Why are you not here?
Right.
And this carried on from kindergarten. I'm the only one there to graduate. My dad had to work, and I had to get a ride from a family friend. Right. So just the traumas of growing up as a kid, that abandonment. Right. Get all the way to second or third grade, whichever it was, just being tough. And then get that one question that broke me down. So yeah.
Do you feel like, so when that, I guess that sorrow kind of came up, and like you said, you weren't able to necessarily work through it with your brothers. Did it turn into something else? Do you feel like it turned into anger? Did it turn into, or did it just kind of sit there?
I don't know. I truly don't know what it really turned into. I just know that like I'm sure, because anytime you start to like disturb the grass, like something's got to come up, right? But I don't know really what came after that, but I knew that it like, all right, this is different. Okay. Like why? Like why? And so now the questions come like, oh, well, why isn't she here? Why don't we have a mother? Like what is this? Like, so now, I got to scratch, the curiosity itch, just kind of figure out like, all right, what is this? Like, and then I started looking at life, even at that age, differently from that one question I was being asked.
So keep walking us through your life. And I know that loss, I know you've seen a lot of loss. Yeah. So talk to us about that, because we haven't told our viewers about that part of your story yet.
Yeah. Like for us, I felt like, life was kind of evening out. We grew up in that time where like, for black men, for us, it was like, make it past 25, you're gonna be all right. Like, or 21, like whichever one. It's like, make it past that, you should be okay, right? And I remember this the era where Tupac was our favorite rappers. Aaliyah was the thing, right? Like it was around that time. So life was life. We got into mischief, but we were. My dad remarried my stepmother. My stepmother came in and really tried to, in a sense, fix us. Now, I think we were probably too far broken, but she gave it a good try. But this is when life just started to change for us, and now like I wouldn't say like we were just it was an upgrade from poverty.
Okay.
The small upgrade. It's like, all right, we went from the assisted living or the government housing to all right, now we're working towards getting our stuff together to become something. So we moved to a new neighborhood, and like that's a thing now. You get new friends, all that, right? Then we grow up only to face my brother Marcus getting killed at 2006, and Marcus was trying to rob somebody, and he was fighting a lot of things himself. I was 21 at the time. He was 22, and he was figuring life out. Okay. He had a baby girl, Taylor, and he was trying to figure out life for himself. And he went to rob a guy, and before even, and the only reason I know he was going to rob the guy, not because of the action, because the action never took place. Okay. But because I know him. So, but even before he got to the car where the guy was, he got shot. Okay. And yeah, I got the call and I ran around the corner and I saw him laying there. And I pretty much, I mean, they tried to, resuscitate him, but I pretty much watched him pass. So, yeah.
And that was the first loss.
Yeah, and that was the first one.
Tell me about the next loss.
Every time I kind of recall life, it was really like, it's almost like a movie. When Marcus got killed, my brother Andre was, he was locked up. He was in jail. And I remember like always going, Andre was locked up in a prison, and I would go like every weekend to go see him. I probably was like one of his last lifelines, but it was one of those things where we would sit and talk, and we would have conversations about just life, ideas, just great things, like where we want to be, our aspirations, and still doing stupid stuff. He would need money, so I would sneak him money doing visitation, stuff like that. Which you can definitely get locked up for, so don't do that. But anyway, for Andre was like this dude that I aspired to be like. We was close, and I was probably really being the middle person. It kind of make you the closest to everybody, right? So you kind of, I'm locked in with everybody. But anyway, I remember Andre was locked up, and Marcus had got killed, and we was trying to do everything to get Andre out so he can come to Marcus' funeral. And I mean, it looked like it wasn't gonna happen, right? It was like was no way possible. And for us, like being in those like poverty-stricken areas, like we grew up just so tight, just like we just had just different love for each other, right? So anyway, we're at the funeral, and this is like, I don't know, a powerful scene for our highlight about Andre. But we're at the funeral, and they closed the casket, and we just, we're just crying. We're embracing each other. We're trying to figure it out. We're trying to understand why this happened. And then all of a sudden, Andre walks in. And then now they have to reopen the casket to let him see his brother. And he had just got out of jail like that morning, right? And then it broke us down even more, because it was like, dang, like last time you get to see Marcus is here. Right. But 6 years later after that, Andre was on a bike and a motorcycle, and somebody pulled out in front of him, and he was thrown off the bike. And of course he hit his head. I got the news, and then I went up to the hospital, and when I went there, I knew it was bad. I mean, I saw all the people, whatever, but like I knew it was bad when I walked up to Andre and I grabbed his hand and he didn't squeeze back. And for me, it was like, nah, not again.
Right.
But yeah.
And the loss continued.
Yeah, it continued. So after Andre, I tell you, my dad, like, he had this thing, he had his way of like summoning us or just knowing. I don't know if it was like one of his gifts. Like, we survived so much, and every like near tragic or tragic situation or just any type of injury, he would show up. And it was like, I don't know, almost like a ghost. Like, he would show up. I remember Marcus broke his arm, like, and out of nowhere, we thought he was at work, but he pulls up and he's like the first one on the scene or whatever. But anyway, my dad, like, this was probably before like angry kind of or anger started to like set in for me. He summoned all of us and he called us together and he was just like, look, he was like, I don't need nothing happening to y'all, so don't do nothing stupid because I can't lose y'all too. And one thing I remember about him saying, he was like, because my father, he lost his mother, he lost his sister, and he lost his father. He was like, all those losses don't equal to the one loss of his child.
Okay.
And it was just like, then I could really truly kind of understand like what he was going through mentally, like what he was fighting. But my dad became like even more loving, where it was like he wouldn't get off the phone without us saying, you know, love you or whatever the situation is. Me and him was super tight. He would, my wife used to joke about it all the time, whereas she was like, y'all not even saying nothing. Like, we would just hear each other on the phone, you know, just moments like that. And 4 years later, after Andre got killed, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And they said he didn't have long to live. And I think they probably gave him 3 months, and he was probably gone and had that. So yeah.
So you got two brothers, your father, and then there was another loss.
Yeah. So 4 years after that, Antoine is just like, he always been this unique individual. Like, that's just who he is, right? It's just like, and this is me recognizing who he was before he transitioned. This is like, I remember telling him, was like, yo, you got a love for people that we all don't have. And and I believe it's a love that my father like endured. Like, I don't think he created it, but he endured this love, and it was just different. Like, it was just, I don't know, it's just, it's hard to describe, but he just had this different love for people.
Okay.
Right? Supportive. He had his ways, but when it came down to that hardcore, like, love you like to death, like that's what he was. And this was previously before Antoine transitioned to Felicia. So once he transitioned to Felicia was still that core, just that loving person. And Felicia was brutally murdered. I was at work, and I got a call from my stepdaughter saying, hey, they saying such and such is dead. And I'm like, you know, for me, it's what I went through. It's like, man, it's like, could this, you know, it could happen, but like, is that something you accept, right, dude? Is that something you allow to come into your world? So I'm thinking, and I'm like, okay. I get off the phone, and then my brother Adrian called, and he's like, They say something happened, and I was like, all right. So, but at this moment, he's like, well, what should we do? And I was like, well, go wherever they saying it is, and then call me as soon as you get there. And then once he pulled up, he see all these people outside, and then he's like, he calls me. He's like, all right, you need to come. So I go, and at the scene, they wouldn't let you actually go to the scene and kind of figure it out. They wouldn't let you like tap in. But then we got a picture, and then we knew then, you know. So we got a picture, and it was, of course, Felicia wasn't picking up on the phone. So it was like what do you do with this? Like, how do you know, how do you deal with this? And once we got the picture, it was like, all right. And then for me, the true anger set in. The true anger of disrespect, the true anger of like, all right, like, where we at now? Like, where do, like, come on, like, and it's no disrespect to nobody, but the way I felt was like, you know, you, like, other people got brothers, other people got, like, why us?
Right.
Why this happened? You know, so, I don't know, you know, it's just one of those things you just kind of learn the process, but yeah, that's the losses in a nutshell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what's going to happen? I don't know what made me think we could do this in one show. I don't know, but we are going to, we're going to end this episode, but I need you to join us for the next episode next week, because Colby has found some things out through going through loss, and his life is not what you might think it would be based on what he's been through. But I need you to hear that from him. So I'm asking that you would share this with some people that you think it will help. And then I need you to join us back next week, same place, same time, for the Sister Speak Brother Break show with Marcy Bush.
Thanks so much for joining us today. If you've been blessed by today's show, feel free to let us know. And if you'd like to sow into this ministry, become a sponsor, or contact us, you can reach us at 803-221-0169. Or you can email us at the ssbbshow@gmail.com. Let's continue this journey together.
The sound doesn't come back till impact. And then now I was on the passenger side of this, in the back, and now I'm in the middle of the car. And I'm looking, we're all kind of dazed at what happened. And all of a sudden I just start what I thought